Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man, at your twisted fire starting services. How are you all? Hope you're doing very, very well. What's the news, Kilt-Man? What's the news? Well, Blumhouse are once again ransacking, the casks of old cult classics to try and redo them and put their own little stamp on them and try and make sequels and franchises all over again. And what have they settled on this time? Stephen King's Firestarter. Ooh, Firestarter. Yeah, there it is. I reviewed that film, the original film, from 1985, 84? 84 I think it was. I reviewed the Blu-ray of that quite some time ago. I'll put the little link down below. I am not the biggest fan of Firestarter. I think the film's okay. I do. We're playing Tangerine Dream's hypnotic score for the movie right now. I have the original novel from Stephen King right here, right now. Look at this, how many words do you need? I'm joking. From a guy that can stretch the simplest of topics into a 2-hour-long video, so I can't knock that. But this is the old original paperback that came out, and it from the blurb on the back of it just shows you how old this was. From the author of The Shining, Carrie and The Dead Zone, Stephen King's most mesmerising and menacing novel yet. The story of a sinister government agency, a fateful drug experiment, and a pigtail girl named Charlie, who has an unimaginably terrifying gift. She can start fires with the power of her mind. But we're talking over 30 years ago. So how many books and mini-series and film adaptations and screenplays and Stephen King isms have there been since then? Now, when that came out, I was a massive Stephen King fan, and I found that book. I was only young, for God's sake. I found the book to be very disappointing because it wasn't a horror story, and that's the thing about this. It's not a horror story, like The Dead Zone as well, which I think was just before this one. It's not a horror story. It's a great fantastical drama. It's a thriller. Both of them are thrillers. Both have great moments and great stories, great characters, but they're not horror stories. So people, I think, when that film came out, this film here with Drew Barrymore, when that came out, directed by Mark L. Lester, the guy that went on to do Commando. Oh yes, and the stalwarts among you know that I've covered Commando quite a fair bit lately. When this came out, they saw the name Stephen King and Firestarter. They may not have read the book, so they're going to assume straight away it's a horror film. People are set ablaze. There's lots of conflagrations and there's a lot of angst and turmoil, but it's not a horror story, folks. No, I'm not holding that against it at all. Do not get me wrong. But I think when I read that book, I expected horror. So when the film came out, I knew it wasn't. And even so, I was still a little bit, that could have been a lot better, couldn't it? And it could have been a lot better had John Carpenter, Big John himself, directed it as he was meant to. John Carpenter was actually working on Firestarter with a script by Bill Lancaster, who did the script for The Thing, which was then rewritten by a fella called Bill Phillips, I think it was, and with little rewrites here and there. And Big John was actually scouting locations and doing pre-production in Tennessee, I think, at the time. And Universal, who were none too pleased with the box office performance of The Thing. We all know the story. We all know The Thing is my favourite film of all time. I've discussed it a lot. And in fact, I'm wearing an Outpost 31 top at the moment. It's got McCready's name. You probably can't see it. It's over there, an Outpost 31 on the back of it. Anyway, besides all that, The Thing underperformed because a little turd-shaped alien called E.T. swamped the box office summertime 1982. So sadly, I'm afraid The Thing, a big nasty tentacled, body assimilating, multi-body horror morphing, tentacled terror from beyond the stars, was not conducive to the cinema-going public at the time. So Universal realised, hang on a minute, we know you're a great director, but I'm afraid money talks, and failures walk. So, but he was in a contract with them. Now, what they did, because he was up for doing Firestarter, and this was the whole thing he was meant to be doing. He was doing pre-production on it, and they said, well, okay, look, the thing underperformed, right? You're on this particular kind of contract where I think they called it a pay or play sort of thing, which meant because of the underperformance of the thing, that, hang on a minute, okay, right, what we're going to do now is make the film if you want to, but we're going to slash your budget completely, okay? And John's like, well, hang on a minute. So the vision I had for this movie, you're going to slash the budget by a hell of a lot. That means I can't make the film I want to make. So what's the point? But that contract he was in was also, you know, we'll pay you whether you make it or you don't. So Big John, brilliantly, always got his eye on the money as Big John, said, okay, I'm walking then. So he paid him, and he bought himself a long-range Bell Jet helicopter, because after filming the thing, he found a newfound love for helicopters, and got his pilot's license, and off he went, you know, rotoring all over the world. And so it came out sitting quite happily. But the irony would appear to be that Big John, synthesized film scores, was going to direct Firestarter, would almost certainly have done the score for it himself, or with his collaborator, oh god, what's his name? Oh my god, I can't remember his name now. Alan Howarth. Jesus, redeem myself there. Maybe Alan Howarth would have done it, but it would have had John Carpenter's unique sound stamp all over it. It would have had that voice, that synthesized rhythm and beat, and that steady, hypnotic, haunting quality that John Carpenter always brings to his scores. So he would have got that. But anyway, he did Christine instead. Yay! And I love Christine. As Stephen King novels go, I'm a massive fan of that book. For a long time, it was my favourite book of all time. But then things always change, you know. Because then I read it, and up until the final act of it, I thought this is the best book ever written. And then I thought, oh no, it's actually shit. No, it's undermined the whole bloody thing. And so Christine still stands really high, as far as I'm concerned, in the annals of Stephen King. And I love Carpenter's version of Christine. It's measured, it's character driven, the effects are fantastic, his score is wonderful, the atmosphere to it is all pervasive, it's brilliant, I do love it. They are redoing Christine, now we know this. But anyway, let's get back on topic. They're redoing, or they've done, Firestarter. The trailer came out, I think it dropped yesterday or the day before, so I'll put the link to that below as well. It's a very generic trailer. The film stars, hang on one second, Rhiannon Kira Armstrong as the Firestarter, Charlie McGee. Zac Efron is her dad. Now, I've got no problems about that. I don't mind Zac Efron at all. And he's got a bit of stubble on him, he's looking a bit grizzled. He's playing the father. Keith David, David Keith played him. Keith David was in The Thing, wasn't he? And They Live. Oh god, let's get all this sorted out. But David Keith plays her dad, grizzled, curly haired and all that, and they go on the run, because the story is her father and her mother underwent some sort of experimental tests and drug taking for some secretive scientific organisation, and then their baby became a Firestarter, a pyromaniac, pyrokinetic, demonic child. And of course, she's just a girl, just a little girl, but she has this power. When she gets agitated, she'll spontaneously cause flames to erupt somewhere else, and she has the power to cause a nuclear explosion. So the shadowy government agency want that girl. She's a weapon, we need her. It's the age-old story, isn't it? And so her dad, because the mother gets killed in a tragic fiery accident when the kid gets all upset. So they go on the lam, and the government agents are after them all over the place. They meet a kindly couple in old farmstead, and they get wasted, and oh my god, it's all carnage. Then she gets taken into, I think it's called The Farm. Is it called The Farm? Yeah, it's the pharmacist. It's a bit of an obvious one here, which is a great big sort of CIA, FBI, secret government's headquarters in the middle of nowhere. And she's befriended by the grandfatherly and very loving and caring John Rainbird, played in the original movie by George C. Scott. A great character actor, and he's wonderful in this, except for the fact that you've got to be monumentally naive not to think that, hang on a minute, he's going to be a twat. And then, yes, he's revealed to be a twat. And Charlie goes on the run again, realises the whole thing's a sham, no one's my friend, where's my dad? Burn you all! And you've got like lots of scenes. The big finale of the movie is just one endless succession of people having pure flameouts. Just a big barbecue, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful stuff. But and I love the fact that these dickheads in their asbestos suits and they've got M16s, and they're all going, oh, no. They're just consumed with fire, and then they're running around ablaze. I love the effect that you see here when she's kicking off with the fiery instincts. The hair just goes, and then someone just goes, whoa, they get scorched and flambéed. Looking at the trailer for the new movie, it looks it's going down the same path. Well, it's got to, hasn't it? If you're going to follow that story, you've got to follow what the original film did as well. And you know, as I say, the original movie was a bit meh. I was a bit like, Would John Carpenter have improved things? Yes, I think he probably would. He would have given it far more of a style, a voice. The score would have really worked. You're hearing Tangerine Dream's score right now to that version from 84, 85. And it's a lovely, proper electro, pure synth score, which you'd expect from Tangerine Dream. They were doing Near Dark, they'd done The Keep, Sorcerer for William Friedkin, and I've discussed their stuff a lot in the past as well, and I do love The Dream. I do love their stuff. Street Hawk, yeah, I mean the main theme, LA Park for Street Hawk, is still one of my all-time favourite bits of music, and I just adore it. But I would have preferred John Carpenter's sound on it. Well, it would appear that we're going to get that, folks, because this film, the new film from Blumhouse, directed by Keith Thomas. I don't know. It's due out, I think, in April this year. It's made. The film was made. The trailer's out now. The trailer's very generic, but what we have got going for it is John Carpenter scoring the movie. Well, hey, look at that, how the world turns. He was meant to direct it way back when. Never happened, had to walk away with a nice little sort of urn in his back pocket. Got a helicopter out of it, no worries. And now he's going to come back to score the movie. We all know that John Carpenter and his son Cody and his godson Daniel Davis, is it? Yeah. From the son of the guy from the Kinks. They've been doing world tours. I've seen them twice. They are phenomenal. John Carpenter's albums, Lost Themes, Volumes 1 and 2, and then the anthology that came out of remixes. That wasn't so good. The remix version of all his classic hits, I wasn't so fussed on. But his Lost Themes have been great. I've loved those. So the fact that he's going to come back and score this, we know he scores Halloween 2018. He scored Halloween Kills. This is all Blumhouse. He is scoring Halloween Ends, coming out later this year. So and that's great. More Halloween themes, wonderful. So, and there was sort of, was it during the first lockdown, there was talk of him returning to making movies. I really can't see that actually happening as a director. I'd love it, but his last movie as a director was The Ward, and although, again, you've got to be monumentally naive not to have seen the twist coming in that, I still liked it. It had lots of flourishes to it, lots of great cinematography, and it wasn't Dean Cundey doing it, but they were emulating the great Dean Cundey in many of the camera moves, and just the way the shots were put together, and it was so well composed. I loved it. And I think it was Dave Killian did the score for it, so it wasn't even John Carpenter, but it had a John Carpenter kind of electro synth vibe to it. And I liked the movie, even though I knew exactly what the end was. Right from the first couple of minutes, I knew exactly where it was going. And if I remember rightly, the opening couple of minutes of The Ward is a huge fiery conflagration, just like this, of a burning farmstead. But going back just before The Ward, going back a little bit before, after a lengthy sort of gap, you've had the likes of vampires, which I'm not a huge fan of at all, Ghosts of Mars, oh dear, Escape from LA, God, what happened? You had Snake Plissken, you had Kurt Russell. How did you manage to screw it all up? Well, I'll tell you why he screwed up. He didn't want to do it in the first place. So his heart wasn't in it. The story had been told. There was no more need for Snake Plissken adventure. I know he's my favourite character, and I do cosplay as Snake Plissken, and Plissken is the main man. But you do need. Just don't tell the same story again. Plissken's such a multifaceted character. He hasn't got to escape from somewhere else every bloody adventure. Hasn't got to be an escape with a time limit. You could do anything he bloody well wants. You could do his bank robberies. You could have his wartime, yes. You could have lots of things. There's a lot more to the very enigmatic character that is Snake Plissken. Don't just have him recycle exactly what we saw before. But as I say, Carpenter's heart wasn't in it. King Kurt actually didn't mind going back to the character. As he said, if I could fit into that costume, then I'll do it again. And if you look, he fucking barely fits into those camo kecks. And then he'd go and give him the shitty fucking, it's the stealth jacket and the black sort of like fake leather. Oh Jesus God, it's a fucking awful costume. I hate it. But we're talking about Firestarter, aren't we? And so is this going to be any good? As I say, the trailer for it is generic, but I don't mind it. I've already seen online some people railing against the line where little Charlie McGee says, liar, liar, pants on fire. Well, I don't mind that at all. I've got a feeling it's in the book as well. I mean, I could be wrong on that. I've got a feeling it is a Stephen King actual line. I could be wrong. But even so, if it seems like the most obvious thing ever for a pyrokinetic, sort of telekinetic maniac to come out with, well, I don't care about that. That's fine. Seems good to me. But the trailer is kind of by the numbers, and it does go down the entire road that you've seen before. If you've seen that movie or read the book, then you know where it's going anyway. My worry with this really is that Blumhouse, being Blumhouse, will then want to make a sequel and a prequel. And you know that they will do that. If this film is successful, and they're gonna really want it to be successful, so they're gonna push this good style, then you're gonna get sequels out of it. Fuck me, this story does not need anything more. It doesn't. But that's what they're thinking of, and you know it, I know it, we all know it. There's no smoke without fire. But I hope the film is good and it's enjoyable. But I know the story, and it's not a horror film, so don't go thinking that. And if they do try and twist it that way, and the trailer does make it look like this could be a horror film, like The Fury, like well, the original story is very like Scanners. I've always found the film to be, the original story and the film to be a sort of a Scanners type thing. Experimental stuff done with parents and their offspring may have side effects. What are we creating here? Shadowy government agents who want these people who've got these powers. It's Scanners. But if they can bring like a real suspenseful and exciting edge to it, and the very fact that you've got a young girl who's in jeopardy and who's, I don't want to hurt anyone, but then, I mean, the fact that because of what happens to her family and what's happening to her and the persecution she sees all around her and the way that they're using and exploiting her, right, fuck you. Oh, I shouldn't swear, but then again, I don't care because I'm going to burn you all anyway. Burn in hell, Carrie White. Sorry, that sprung into my mind. But they could work with this. And like, I'm not going to just, because I'm very jaundiced, very cynical about Blumhouse trying to remake The Thing. Fuck off. They have remade the TV series of The Exorcist. Did they not do Poltergeist? And obviously Halloween. And how many other things are they going to revamp and put their name on? Can't you just create something new of your own? Look at A24. A24 is a film that actually really strikes out in new ground, brings in new directors, new writers, and creates entirely new concepts and ideas. Granted, they're not all terrific. And they are Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. And the thing is, it's not going to be consistent. You might love The Lighthouse, but you're going to hate The Green Knight, or vice versa. And that's the way it works. You might love, Hereditary, and hate The Witch. It's just the way it works. But they're not afraid to do that, to break new ground and to create new ideas, original concepts, and put them out there. They're celebrating it. And that is what the whole point of movie making should be, and storytelling, originality. And this seems to be a very lost art these days. No, I'm not gonna. This is not like no clickbait. No, I'm hating on this. I'm not, because I also love purely generic fodder as well. But I'd like someone to create something new. And each time I see one of these old titles gets, we're remaking this, we're rebooting this, because it's happened so often with mostly disastrous results. You kind of just go, oh God, not again. But John Carpenter's scoring this, so at the very least, we're going to get a new John Carpenter score. What ho, folks! What ho! So, can't wait. Now, I'm just going to go back onto the final. It's called Flash Final, which is Charlie McGee's little incendiary, explosive escape from the farm. Oh, I meant to say, George C. Scott played the Indian sort of high-ranking security officer of the farm, who's sort of, he's a double agent. He goes in to try and act like the friend to these captives that they've got, but he's really not. Well, George C. Scott playing, a Native American. Although I quite liked it, I didn't mind it. But now you've got, I forgot his name. His name's Grey Eyes, Michael Grey Eyes, who's a genuine First Nation actor. So a genuine Native American. He's been in many things. I'm sure he was in The New World as well. And opposite Colin Farrell. And which is a film I actually really enjoyed. Again, dreamy qualities to it. Really dreamy ambience. And again, not what people thought going in. They thought adventure. They thought Pocahontas. They thought, arrows and muskets and all that. And you do get that. For a split second in a big fucking 3-hour movie or whatever it is. But no, so Michael Grey Eyes plays John Rainbird. You've also got, and I can't believe this, in fact when I saw his name in the casting, I thought this guy would be playing John Rainbird. Kurtwood Smith, Clarence Bodiger, for God's sake, from the father from Dead Poet Society whose son commits suicide, Agent whatever from Rambo 3. But Kurtwood Smith, alright, when I saw his name I thought, he's got to be getting on a bit now. Is he going to be playing the John Rainbird character? That'd be great, that. Because he can bring this sinister quality to him, to the character, and really just, he's an older guy. Did he use him as the grandfatherly sort of guy that's going to take her under his wing? No, he's not, because Michael Grey Eyes is playing John Rainbird. So, there is an old couple that Charlie and her father do befriend, a little farmstead, who do come a cropper of the vicious agents that are tracking our happy, dysfunctional family down across country. And I've got a feeling that he's going to be playing the old guy from that farmstead. But either way, there's another plus point, folks, another massive plus point, to be perfectly honest. John Carpenter's score, looking forward to it. And Kurtwood Smith, who I think is a fabulous actor, and you just don't see enough of him. And I know he's really knocking on a bit now, but I'm happy the fact that he's in here. So I'm thinking he's going to be playing that guy in the farmstead, but I could be wrong. In the trailer, he does say something along the lines of, "She's got the power," as I quoted before. She's got the power to start a nuclear war, a nuclear blast. Now, maybe he's in charge of the farm. Maybe he's a big CIA, secret, shadowy government agency, hierarchy, big top league I don't know, superstar. Because there is also a scientist who did the initial tests. Oh, maybe it's him. Maybe he's playing him. Oh yeah. Oh, I've just realised. Yeah, he'll be playing this guy. I don't think he's all bad. I think he would be. I forget who plays him now in the original movie. In that movie. Let's have a look at the names here. What you got? Martin Sheen, Freddie Jones. Freddie Jones plays the scientist who was in charge of the whole thing to begin with. Right. Kurtwood Smith might be playing the Freddie Jones character of Doctor. The big bad guy in charge of it all, the big operation. It's Martin Sheen. And Martin Sheen, of course, was in the Dead Zone as well. Ta-da! Everything's connected. Everything. You know, the 5 separations of Kevin Bacon and all that. Everything's connected. See how it's all working, all coming together. But anyway, folks. The news was John Carpenter is scoring a film, a brand new movie with a brand new score. Wow. And, the clever thing is, and I love the symmetry of these, is that he was going to direct the first movie, didn't, but they bring in Tangerine Dream to score it, and Tangerine Dream are a synth-based band, doing very similar sorts of styles and soundscape ambience that John Carpenter would do. And now they're remaking it, and they brought John Carpenter in to score it. They didn't bring the Dream in, they brought in John Carpenter. And his son and his grandson, yeah. So, anyway, folks, I have been and always shall be intrigued by the movies that are coming out. The incredible lack of originality, and yet, on the flip side, the incredible originality that comes out, which everyone seems to ignore. And the masses just go to what they know. The big, unique selling brand fucking thing, the brand names that we know and love, but it's alright. People are very easily pleased. But then again, if you're pleased, you're pleased. I can't knock that. And Hollywood, for all of its sins, it's churning out entertainment, mainly to make money for itself, but, anyway. But it's giving, at the very least in this particular case, you've got John Carpenter coming out of sort of, video game chain-smoking retirement to create a brand new score for the film, and that has got to be applauded. Folks, I am Kilt-Man. Please, keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, and just remember to always be yourselves. And I'm going to see you all. It's getting hot in here. Liar, pants on fire. I don't wear pants, I wear a kilt.